All right. So we're gonna go ahead and find a seat, and seated, cross-legged, yoga block, cushions, blankets, whatever you want to underneath. We're gonna begin our kind of yin-yang yoga practice today, where you're releasing and strengthening together. So we are gonna begin by sitting tall, you guys. From here, you're pulling up from the sides, you're pulling up from the back, you're pulling up. So we want to pull the spine out of the pelvis, but a lot of times we do this, we start to hike up the shoulders. So let the shoulders drop while you're pulling from here. So you start to feel those deep belly muscles, those deep back muscles work to lift your spine right up the lift through the crown of the head. You can do this with eyes open or closed, just breathing in and breathing out. So just take some nice breaths in through both nostrils. And exhale, really feel the belly squeeze and the diaphragm move up as you breathe out. Okay, let the shoulders relax, jaw relax as you're breathing in and breathing out. So you guys go ahead at your pace. Just take some nice breaths in and out. Don't wait for me to tell you when to inhale and when to exhale. Just staying connected with the breath. Okay, this helps us with mindfulness. It helps us to keep the mind rooted in one spot. It helps us to bring the mind to one place when mind starts to wander, and we start to worry about, how we're going to get things done, or where, our next move is going to be. Again, I said, in these uncertain times, all these times of restrictions, we say, I don't feel free to do what I need to do, or do what I feel is the right thing to do, right? These restrictions around us, oftentimes they could all be lifted and we still have the restrictions within us. So free yourself of those restrictions, right? Be open to the light. Let the crown of the head lift as you breathe in and breathe out. So you're breathing in all the good stuff, right? The light, the positive energy, and you're exhaling all the negativity, the darkness, whatever you need to get rid of, right? To get rid of those restrictions. And just be here for a couple more breaths, feeling both nostrils, taking in the breath. We're going to start to turn the palms inward, roll the shoulders back, and lift straight up. So you guys are going to stay lifted, breathing in, breathing out. And this lift is pulling, but the shoulders are staying down. So you're breathing in, breathing out, and getting your spine to come out of your hips. And really enjoying the breath. So if your muscles around here are tight, like you're like, I can do this, or you're feeling restricted here in the face, let it go, let it relax. Smile underneath that skin, right? Breathing in and breathing out. We'll start to come over to the right side and let that elbow drop if you want to, or elbow stay straight, that's up to you. But as we come over to the side, we lengthen again. So all this is still pulling on all four sides, right, left, front, back. And you drop the bottom of your left hip to the floor, extend the top of the left hip. As you breathe in, breathe out, continue to lengthen your lower back all the way to the right side. And the yin is the letting go, so this is where you drop. The yang is when you pull. So you can practice inhaling, which is the yang, which is the work, pull, and exhaling, the letting go, the drop. And we'll rise up and we'll practice on the other side. So again, pull everything up, reach over to the left, let that left elbow come down, shoulders relax. So we want to, again, just try to let that drop, feeling the bottom of the right hip drop, the top of the right hip lift. Practice the yin and the yang breath. So your breath is yin and yang. Your inhale naturally creates tension in the body. The exhale naturally releases tension. So as we breathe in, we stretch more, lengthen more, get stronger. When we exhale, we release and let go and drop. And rise up. So finding that balance. So pull everything strong. I'm going to bring the left hand to the right knee. We'll come into this rotation, but guys, really important to keep the chest and the shoulders even so one side doesn't drop down. Okay, and you don't pop a rib cage out on the side to do this. Sometimes we'll do that. So keep the sides of the torso nice and even in this twist, and take the back arm and lift it up. So you're finding lift and breath. So the mind becomes really sharp in your yoga practice, okay? So that when you breathe in, you are lengthening, strengthening, lifting. And when you breathe out, you relax and settle and become part of the twist. You can turn your head more. And come back into the center. And before we go to the other side, I'm just going to reach the arms forward and push the spine that is between the shoulder blades to the back wall, and move the shoulder blades to the front wall. So your hands can be apart, they could be connected, that's fine. You know, you can keep them separated or connected. And release it back to the center, lift up super, super tall, have the right hand come to the left knee. Again, keep everything even so you don't slant when you come into the twist. And we're bringing that back arm up. So keep the evenness as you lift the spine, pull the torso, and breathe. Inhale, get a little taller. Exhale, move into the twist a little deeper. Beautiful. Come right back into the center, and we'll do that one more time. Just press through and move the spine between the shoulder blades, back wall, shoulder blades to the front wall, and releasing it back. So bring those hands back, and fingertips can either be forward or turn back. I'm going to turn mine back today, but if that bothers your shoulders, then definitely bring them forward. So we're going to bend the knees and flatten out through the feet. Make sure your heels are down, and we lift up. Now again, if that's too much on your shoulders, I want you to either push to your feet or change the position. So you bring your weight to your feet more as you lift your chest, or just change your hands. So that's quite a big shoulder opener, especially first thing, but it's very good to get that rotation if you can. Opens the chest, the biceps, the forearms, the shoulders, all of it. All right, let's let that go. Crisscross, come onto all fours. I'm gonna work a really good opener through the back. So again, getting these good spinal mobility is important. So your knees are open. Make sure that they are open. Your knees are not together. And our shins are anchored down. The wrists, do your best to get them under the shoulders and keep the arms straight. You know, sometimes I'll see this, the elbows will bend, right? So if those of you guys will let me see you. So keep that strong. The upper body is not gonna move. You're gonna arch your lower back and round, scoop the belly, the lower back. So upper body's not moving here. And do that again. So breathe in, pull, and breathe out, round the lower back. So we're getting into this isolation. Try that again. Breathing in, keep the chest steady, arch, and breathing out, round. Now we'll start to add the upper body. So when you arch the lower back, drop the chest, but keep the arms straight. Just drop the chest. Sink, 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 super low. And as you exhale, round the lower back and then lift the chest and push the spine to the sky and the shoulder blades to the floor. Let's do that again. Go from the lower back, breathe in, drop the chest, and then the lower belly rounds the lower back, coming up to the chest, and press. And one more time. Lower back, press a little deeper if you can. Chest drops, arms stay straight, and then that lower belly, upper back, release. Beautiful job, you guys. Let's walk the hands forward and get this stretch from here to here, okay? So you're gonna be pulling the arms forward. Don't let them drop to the ground if you can help it. Pull the back back, and then arch your lower back like we just did, and let the chest sink. So lower back arch, arms up, chest Sink. And we're going to work this position. As you breathe in and breathe out. So again, you guys are trying to keep your lower back continuously arching, sinking the chest continuously, and breathing deeply, keeping those arms lifted. If your chest doesn't touch the ground, it's okay, but you're working in that direction for chest and throat. And then we'll release and round through the lower back, lift the chest. And take that right arm underneath the left. And don't go all the way under, just stretch it across and just lay the arm and the shoulder right down and turn the head. So we settle the spine in neutral, and you bring the arm across your chest, and you bring your weight to it. And if you guys want to try this, you try turning your head the other way. Do it really slowly, right? So you would turn your head the other way. If that's too much or uncomfortable, just bring it back to the way it was. Let's release and bring that arm up. Neutral spine, or if you want to cat stretch it, go for that. Bring that left arm underneath. Just bring it right underneath the chest here, and you're just going to press down into that shoulder and that arm, push your chest right to it, and turn the head and let the head settle. So you guys are folding the arm to the chest or the chest to the arm. You're really getting that good squeeze. You're breathing deeply. So again, your inhale is your strength. It's your yang. Your exhale is your yin. It's your letting go. Balance your breath. Balancing the postures. And again, if you want to turn your head the other way, so if you want to practice just getting that head to rotate and see what it feels like, again, too uncomfortable, go the other way. It doesn't matter, right? Just kind of experimenting with your posture. All right, we're going to come right back into the center and press your fingers down and curl through the toes, lift through the hips, and press back through the heels. So we want those shoulders to be open and arch your lower back like we did in that cow pose. Start at the lower back. Then start to move to the chest, keeping those arms straight. This is just like what we did in cat and cow. You're going to arch that lower back, right? And then start to arch your upper back, breathing in, breathing out. So continue to feel the arching from lower back to upper back. Inhale and exhale. Now we're going to go into the cat stretch. So you're going to round your lower back and move through plank, and round your upper back and move through plank. Go back in a downward dog and arch your lower back like you do in cat and cow pose, and then arch your upper back. And those legs are super straight. Round, we're going to do this 2 more times, right? Round the lower back, cat stretch, come through plank, round the upper back. And 1 more time, arch through that lower back, arch that lower back, arch through the upper back, press your legs down. Now press the heels down and let the head drop a little bit more. You inhale, exhale. Let's take the right leg to the sky and just open up through the hip. Just, keep flaring open your right hip, like right where the pubic bone, lower belly, hip flexor is. Just try to stretch that. So you keep the pubic bone or the pelvis steady while you're doing that stretch. Good. And then we'll step that right foot forward. And here we come into our deeper stretches. So if you guys want to use your yoga blocks, I'm going to step into this and drop the back knee. Now this is so, important to open up your hip flexor. Get that back knee back. Don't tuck it in here if you can help it. Stretch it back and elongate the shin and drop the foot. So the muscles along that shin there are dropping. So we're in this stretch. I'm just going to turn so you guys can see the hip I'm talking about. When you're in this stretch, you guys, we want to sit into this part of the hip. So if your hip is up like this and you're sitting into the knee, try to come down and sit into the hip as if this hip is going to come right to the floor. So just settle into it. The longer you're here, the more that muscle is just going to have to release, okay? So you can bring one hand up or two hands up. But you are not, or you're trying to recognize if you start to come up out of the hip like that and settle down into the hip. So maybe you can put your hand here to help you to sink into the hip. And again, breathing in and breathing out. Feel free to stay, or if you want to, reach the hands back. Head is open. So you're breathing deeply, you guys, and you're really sitting into the hips. You're really opening up into the hips. So we inhale and exhale. You remember how to do that, right? Inhale, lift the spine. Exhale, sink and settle. All right, let's let that go, and we're going to stretch back into downward dog. Woohoo! That hip is so open. All right, so we're going to reach back into downward dog and arch your lower back. Arch, arch, arch. Dropping through the spine. Lifting the left leg up to the sky. And so that left hip is oh so open already. So even though you're feeling it super open, you're going to flare the hip flexor as much as you can. So it like pulls away from the pubic bone, that type of feeling as you're breathing in and breathing out. Awesome. Let's go ahead and step that foot forward. So we're going to come down into this lunge and drop that back knee. Again, elongate your shin and settle, sink into this hip. So again, you're moving the hip down and forward. One hand up if you're able to, other hand if you're able to. So you're continuing to reach into the hip, and you're not up, and then pushing forward. It's more of a downward push. Sit, sit, sit. Sit means toward the floor, right? And again, if you want to reach up, you can do it. You're lifting through the spine and or lock an open chest and head. So again, organize the torso so there's no rotations. And as we breathe in, we lift the spine. As we breathe out, we sink and settle. Do that again. Beautiful. All right. And we're going to let that go. All right. We'll come back into downward dog. So reaching it all the way back. Again, and just kind of walking out the feet. Fold into your hips. Arch the lower back. Arch the upper back. So that's good yoga practice, right? For downward dog, sometimes we get stuck in a position in a common posture. So get a good super deep arch to the lower back. Arch to the upper back as you breathe in and breathe out. And we'll come forward, ripple through that cat stretch. Then neutral the spine and come down with the knees and the belly and the chest. Let the elbows come in. Maybe bring those arms up and out. Lift through the chest. And start to move your shoulder blades firmly against the back. So you're going to roll those shoulder blades back and then press the shoulder blades firmly against the back to lift the chest. Turning your head and chest to the right. Turning your head and chest to the left. Turn the head and chest to the right and lift the right leg. Bringing it over. And so you're dipping into your left shoulder. Really dipping into the left shoulder. But really push that shoulder blade against your back. Bring it back into the center. Turn your chest to the left. Lift that left leg. Dip into that right shoulder. So you pull that right shoulder back and the shoulder blade against the back. Really reach into it, guys. And letting that go. And bringing the hands in again. Lift through the chest, push the shoulder blades, and super arch the lower back and the chest. So legs are straight. Now sit into your hips like we just did. Sit into your hips. and lift your spine. And then releasing down and back onto the knees. Open the knees and reach back into that child's pose. So as we extend the arms in child's pose, we find our breathing here and open and lengthen the lower back. So just like when we were seated, you guys, and we're pulling the torso up on the front and the sides and the back, you're doing that now in this elongated position. You're pulling your torso to the crown of the head and sitting your hips back as far as you can toward your heels. So breathing in and breathing out. And one more time, breathing in and breathing out. We'll start to sneak forward onto the forearms and bring the knees out to the side for frog pose. So in this one, your knees go out, your feet are flexed, just like a frog. And you're on your forearms. And see if you can round your lower back. Okay, round that lower back. And stretch those knees a little bit more. Press back with your hips. And now lengthen forward with your spine. So you're pulling your, the bottom of your hips back, your sits bones back, and pulling forward with your spine. And on this one, you feel like you're like lifting your inner thighs from the floor and you're pressing your pelvis to the floor. So this might be challenging. I understand that, right? But you want to try to feel like you're lifting and stretching those inner thighs and sinking your pelvis. And you don't want to arch your lower back. You don't want to let the sink come from arching. So you still want to have that almost like a cat stretch, a rounded lower back, so that you can breathe in, breathe out. Yes, that's my dog barking. She's such a brat. And then slowly come back, bring the feet together, and bring the knees in. And come back on the toes. So I'm just going to turn this way. So you're going to flex through the feet and you're going to stretch back the heels and lift your knees. And so we'll come into this squat position. Do your best to keep the knees and the shins together and get the heels to come down. Press into the front of your ankles, you guys, right here. So you're decreasing this angle here at your ankles. You're bringing your shins down, knees down, and even rounding a bit through the back and letting the head come down. So you release the spine after that one. All right, let's lower down again and press in through the toes, lift up through the chest. And as we do this, stretch your wrists out. Just circle your wrists around and just circle the other way. And then come forward and circle your ankles around and circle your ankles the other way. Awesome. Let's come on up when you're ready and stretch the right leg out to the side. Okay, so this one is gate pose. This again, really, really good for the pelvic stability. So I'm going to ask you guys to have the left knee down in line with the right arch. Your toes can turn forward or they can turn out. I'm going to ask you to put your hands on your pelvis. And everybody has one side a little bit, different than the other. So you might be slanting your hips to the side. So just do your best to have the side walls of your pelvis even, even if it changes the strength of your legs. Okay, so you want your pelvis strong and then work your strength from there. So from that position, we're going to stretch up again the spine and breathing deeply. So you're anchoring the left shin, pelvis is strong, pull, pull, pull as much as you can. We'll open up through the spine, through the shoulders, through the neck, and come over to the side. So you're gonna reach for the leg here. I don't care where, right? Just reach for somewhere in the leg and feel like you're gonna pull the leg in to your body. So grab somewhere, shorten the distance from the leg to the hip. So you're pulling the leg in and bring that top arm over. That feels good. So keep hooking that leg and pulling it in and lengthening on your inhale. And then exhale, release a little more into the stretch. Awesome. So rise up, lift again, shoulders open. We're gonna reach over to the left side. That's it. Okay, so you're gonna bring that left shoulder. This is also key, guys. You're gonna kind of do this little thing with this left shoulder. You're gonna push it up to the ear, push it back, and then push the shoulder against your back so your chest is open. So shoulder can be like a lot of times here. Then move it back and then push it so that your chest comes up. So the shoulder blade will lift the chest. So as we come up into the stretch, you're gonna lift that right leg and lift and reach, if you're able to, for the foot right back there. And you're stretching your quad here. You know how I love to do that, right? So moving your foot closer to your butt, keeping the knee from flaring, keeping that left shoulder blade against the back, hugging the belly in. So do your best not to arch your lower back. Do your best here to round the lower back like you're doing cat stretch so that you can really authenticate that hip opener and quad stretch. So you move your leg back, your thigh back, and keep drawing the belly in. Inhaling and exhaling. Beautiful. Let's release and bring that right knee down, and we'll bring that left leg out to the side. So you can scooch over your mat, or if you want to get there, right? Just do your best to have that right knee in line with your left arch. Place your hands, on your hips. Check out what's going on with the legs. Again, nobody is 100% balanced on the two sides. So, just recognize where you are. Do your best to balance the pelvis and work the strength from there. Lift through the spine, straight up. So we're breathing deeply. We're pulling all this up, all this, all that in the back. Up, 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 up. You're dropping your shoulders. You're inhaling and exhaling. Lengthen your spine, open your shoulders, stretch through the neck. We're gonna come all the way to that left leg. Oh boy, here we go. Grab somewhere in your leg, hook the leg in. Just pull it in from wherever you are. It doesn't matter if you're grabbing your thigh here or whatever. Just pull it in as you go over. Oh, I love this practice. This feels so good. Right, so making sure that you're pulling in, you're breathing. If you're not doing the breathing with the inhale and the exhale, you're not doing your yoga practice. Okay, so you want to inhale deeply, strengthen, exhale, release and let go. And then we rise up. Woo, so good. And come over. So when you come over to this right shoulder, I'm just going to scooch over a little bit. This shoulder's up, back, and then you move the shoulder blade against the chest. So you're not slouching into the shoulder, okay? You're pushing it back there. Get that position, lift, lift, and then grab hold of that foot. Move the ankle in. Move your knee back or your thigh back. But again, don't arch your lower back. Round it, right? So you draw the belly in. And you're feeling like you're rounding that lower back as the shoulders are firmly against the back to open the chest and the neck is long. So again, you're finding your inhale and your exhale. And slowly let that go. Awesome. Woo! Okay, let's have a seat and have your straps near you if you have straps. And actually, let's do this cross-legged before we come into pigeon. I know you guys are excited to do pigeon pose. So we're gonna sit up tall and have your left foot in front of the other and try to do, easy sitting pose where the heels line up with the pelvis. If you can't do that, then you need to close it in more, that's fine. But having that left shin a little bit more forward as you sit up tall, press on the inner thighs right here and push down on the inner thighs and try to lift your spine. Just press down on the inner thighs and try to lift your spine. Now reach the hands back and magically push down on your inner thighs and lift your spine. So you're lifting your spine from the base of your spine, from the very bottom, from way down here. So you're pushing those inner thighs down. You keep the inner thighs down and then you start to come forward. So again, a lot of times we'll start to drop back and sit back into the lower back. So in our practice, we're trying to lift the lower back and move it forward. Pressing down on your inner thighs, lift the lower back and move it forward. So you're lengthening your spine as you breathe. So you inhale and pull, exhale and release. Inhale, press those inner thighs and stretch your spine. Exhale, release. And one more time, breathing in and exhale, release. And then we'll rise up and we are going to come into pigeon pose from here. So that left leg is in front. Ideally, flex this foot. You're going to